Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna, glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda and the Sankirtan mission that he started in 1965 in America, anyway. And it was very interesting to note yesterday, Krishna Katha, that the name of the city in which hit the news was Butler, Pennsylvania. And Butler, Pennsylvania is the same place that Prabhupada went to after he arrived in New York in September 19th, 1965. And he was staying at the house, or being welcomed at the house of the Agrawal family who lived in Butler, Pennsylvania. And as you know, yesterday there was an assassination attempt on the president or former president of the United States in Butler, Pennsylvania. So really stimulated me to think somehow or other how this city plays a key role, more importantly, a key role in the Sankirtan mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because of Prabhupada's presence there. Wherever the spiritual master goes in this world, it sanctifies that place. That's part of our understanding. When Prabhupada came to Toronto back in 1975 and 76, specifically in 76, I was in charge of arranging all of his morning walks, Krishna Katha. So I thought to myself, okay, the best thing to do would to be have him move around in the city. I thought he was going to spend a week with us. I think it was 4 days he spent with us, glorious days. But during that time, I had him, for example, circumambulate the Parliament buildings down from the temple. Because the temple is located in one of the most prestigious areas of the city of Toronto on Avenue Road. And that was one of the reasons why we bought the temple. We had many choices, but we wanted to put Krishna in the front of the city, in the minds of the people, because there are tens of thousands, there's been millions of cars that have driven by the Krishna temple in Toronto because of its location. It's one of the main thoroughfares in the city. So I had Prabhupada walk around the Parliament buildings. You just think, eh? It was a wonderful experience. And then we had him go down to the beaches and to travel along the waterfront and walk up and down, all the devotees coming with us. And then we had him go to Don Valley Park, where he would, so many wonderful pastimes there. And in this way, sanctify the city by his presence. This is the potency of the pure devotee of Krishna. That wherever he walks, even that ground becomes sanctified. So we wanted to sanctify. The Sankirtan movement is trying to sanctify the world with its efforts. And with the personal Vapu association of Śrīla Prabhupāda. And we know Vani is more important than Vapu, according to his teachings, not ours. He lives forever in sound, and his followers live with him. This is a transcendental movement, a Sankirtan movement. It is a system of yoga, bhakti yoga, based on Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, hearing, chanting, remembering. I wanted to mention yesterday, it was very interesting, our discussion, and in it, there was a reference to Prabhupada at the Radha Damodar temple, where he had given the keys to Guru Das to take care of the rooms there that he had. And he paid 25 rupees for 5 months' rent, five rupees a month. And Guru Das was going to stay there and take care of the rooms. And Prabhupada told him, just read my books and chant. And this is Sankirtan. This is also Sankirtan, the glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the devotees. Now we could say, well, I thought it was going out in public and selling books. Okay, books are good to sell, no question, especially the original books, not the edited books that are being sold prolifically around the world for earning money for whatever reasons. But at the same time, this process of Sankirtan is not only the chanting, but also the studying. And this is very important for each one of us to constantly have a program in your daily sadhana, in your regulated life, to read the original books of Śrīla Prabhupāda, because this is your connection to the transcendental realm. It has to be a system of understanding here that a lot of people have forgotten. What is the real connection to Krishna? It is through the bona fide spiritual master. And it's very important to understand this point, because it's been ignored by many of our God brothers and God sisters, unfortunately. And it's still going on in that mission that he started. And so Prabhupada, he set the example, everyone. Yad yad acharyati shreshtas tat tad eva taro jana sayat pramanam kurute lokas tad anuvartate. Whatever great men do, common men will follow. Whatever standards they set by exemplary acts, the whole world pursues. So Prabhupada, even when he was leaving this world, Krishna Katha, back then, we were given a notice to go to Vrindavan because we had heard that Prabhupada was very sick. And I had just seen Prabhupada in Mayapur in 77. And I also had a private darshan with Śrīla Prabhupada in his room with Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj, where Prabhupada interviewed me and wanted me to explain to him how we purchased the Toronto temple, because they said they would rather burn it down than sell it to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Too bad. It didn't work out for them, did it? So, long story short, we were invited, and Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu knows this, we were invited, all of us, to go to India to be with him. He wanted everyone to come when he was leaving the planet. Now, the point is this, that Prabhupada demonstrated at the end of his life how to leave the body without attachment to anything. Nothing. All he was doing was focusing on his service right up to the end of translating his books. And it's so beautiful to see the books that Krishna Katha has behind him, the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatams, the original Delhi versions, which we are working on to have printed and distributed. And we want all of you to participate in this Sankirtan mission of distribution of these wonderful collector's items that we will have in our hands very soon. And it is important to know this, that Prabhupada, even at the end of his time with us, his personal presence, he showed the highest level of Krishna consciousness, because despite the difficulties that he was going through, he did not demonstrate any symptom of a materialistic man. He showed he was transcendental to this body that we all are entombed in. Yes, the highest example, and it is an inspiration for us. This is a great leader, not these politicians. These people are just puppets in the hands of Maya. That's all it is. And their activities are not something that are eternal. They're not transcendental. And they do not liberate anyone. They do not help us in the real mission, because the only mission of the living entity is to follow in the footsteps of the pure devotee who wants us to get out of this material world through this transcendental process of bhakti yoga. It's a great opportunity, and I'm begging all of us to stay together and appreciate the importance of this opportunity and work cooperatively to see this mission revived by the grace of Lord Chaitanya and by the grace of our spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. So we could go on and on. I'll stop now because, you know, we've got a lot of things to do in this program, and we're going to be going and reading today's section of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and there's some wonderful purports in it that we all want to hear and understand, and help us to stay fixed up for this coming week, where we have so many responsibilities, all of us, but our first responsibility is to be a fixed up, first-class example of Krishna consciousness for everyone we meet. Yes. So we're going to go to the diaries of Śrīla Prabhupāda, and if you could go to the first page, I hope we have it. The journey. The Jaladuta set sail for America. Just think. And here is the boat that Prabhupada was on. Look at that. So there's Prabhupada there in the left. And the diaries. These diaries are very valuable books for us. And here we go. We'll flip over. There's a newspaper article. Oh, look, see? Now he's leaving from Calcutta, going down to Colombo, Cochin, up to the Suez Canal. And then across, he makes the journey across the ocean, ends up in Boston, Krishna Katha. Imagine this, eh? And then heads to New York City. And September 19th, 1965, he gets off the boat. This is a newspaper article announcing Śrīla Prabhupāda's departure for the West. And it appeared in the Dainik Basumati, a Bengali newspaper in Calcutta. The translation of the article is as follows: "The Lord's message goes to America." Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Priti viti ache yata nagarati gram sarvatra prachara hoibe mora nam." That prophecy is going to be fulfilled now. Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami, a resident of Vrindavan, has translated the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam into English in 60 volumes with word-for-word meaning and purports. So I want to clarify this. Prabhupada, as you see on the screen here, the 3 Delhi Bhagavatams had been written and printed. So Prabhupada is projecting into the future that he will do all of the Bhagavatams. So this was his determination. Man proposes, God disposes. And so therefore he got all the way to the 10th canto, 14th chapter before his departure from this world. So we have that, plus he did the Krishna books for us. So that was the complete summary study of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Before this great work could be appreciated by his countrymen, people from far off America have expressed their admiration of his supernormal achievement and have invited him so that they may meet him in person and acquaint themselves with his work. Hence, he is departing from Calcutta for New York this 12th day of August. And here we have on the 10th, I've just put in so it says today to start for the USA by Jaladutta from Calcutta. And then we put in, I wanted you to see his handwriting, because the handwriting of the pure devotee is also supremely beneficial for the eyes of the viewer. See the handwriting, everyone, on the wall of what the future is going to bring from Śrīla Prabhupāda's own script. To start for USA by Jaladutta, MV from Calcutta Port, K. George Dockyards. So that's the dockyards. So that it's on the 13th that he's going to start. And here we'll go to the 13th section of the diaries here. So this is really beginning the journey back in time. Today at 9 a.m. embarked on MV Jaladutta, came with me Bhagavati, the Darwan of Scindia Sansir, Mr. Sen Gupta, Mr. Ali, and Brindavan. The cabinet is quite comfortable. It is owner's residence, and therefore the sitting room, the bedroom, the bath, and privy all equipped with first-class materials. Everything is nice in the first-class compartment, and thanks to Lord Sri Krishna for his enlightening, Srimati Murarji for all these arrangements, I am quite comfortable. And I was so happy to meet her personally. The ship started at 10:30 p.m. very slowly from the dock and reached near Botanical Garden and stopped at midstream of the Ganges till 11 p.m. and then turned towards the front and started. It is quite steady. I cannot understand in my cabin if it is all moving. I'm so comfortable. The voyage was again stopped at 3:30 a.m. at Kalpi near Diamond Harbor in Ganokali, Widith, and detained for about 8 hours. The delta of the Ganges is quite wide with shallow water. You can imagine him on this boat. And we'll go to Saturday, the 14th. There we are. The ship started at about 11 o'clock in the morning, majestically. I do not feel any jerking whatsoever, but on reaching the Bay of Bengal, there is a lifting of the ship and a little rolling also. The roughness increased gradually on the upper Bay of Bengal, and I felt seasickness. There was vomiting tendency and dizziness, and I felt uncomfortable the whole day and night. The sea was foamy all through. It appeared like a big plate of water extending to 40 square miles, but factually, it was endless, so to say. It is a vivid example of God's Maya because it appears like something, but factually, it is something else. Sunday the 15th. In the morning, I woke up and felt a little better, but I felt no hunger. Took only a glass of lemon sikanji, lemon drink, nimbu pani, but the head dizziness is continuing up to 10:30. I was in the captain's room, radio room, chatting with the officers. In the radio room, they were dispatching news to other ships. The captain's room is full with nautical paraphernalia. I saw a chart of different appearance photos of the sea. The grades are 0 to 12 degrees, and I think we are passing on the sea between 4 to 7 points. The scene of the 10th point was furious and the 12th serious. The captain advised me to take more solid food. On Monday the 16th, today early in the morning, yes, I saw the ship is plying on the surface of the sea, almost on a 10 degrees of waves. Sorry, everyone. I apologize for that. And that was my mistake. I took a little... Krishna, I gotta get this off. Sorry, everyone. I apologize. Let me try to get rid of this. Turn my ringer off. Was comfortable. All the day I take my lunch, I took a little chakramurti with milk puffed rice cheddar. I gotta shut my phone off. I don't know what to do here. I got people trying to call me and I forgot to turn my phone off. The ship ran all night yesterday smoothly in the sky, although not very clear. There was moonlight in the night. In the morning there was sunshine, but after 11, the sea became a little more rough, showing foamy waves from distance, and after passing the latitude of Trichinopoli, we experienced a dark cloud, subsequently raining all over the sea. The siren sounded on account of hazy vision to warn other ships coming from opposite direction. At about 12 noon, it is raining heavily and the ship is stopped, moving occasionally, sounding the siren. There is constant sounds of thunderbolt. This is the first time I'm experiencing heavy rains in the midst of the deep ocean. From 12 noon, we are passing through cyclonic weather. The ship is tilting too much. I felt seasickness all day and night, and at 3 p.m., the ship turned toward the Ceylon coast, and we are now in the Ceylon water. So very serious trouble here on the ship, and Prabhupada is experiencing a great deal of difficulty. So please forgive me for that interruption. We'll move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava and then the wonderful class from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Delhi versions given by His Grace Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Hari Jaya Muspa Paramahansa Parivrajaga-ācārya Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Jai Nāma-ācārya Śrī Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvāsādhi Gaur Bhakti-vrinda ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sam Khanda Radha Khanda Girivardhan ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Navadvip Dham ki Jai Ganga Mai ki Jai, Jamuna Mai ki Jai, Guru Dwarka Dham ki Jai, Swami Bhaktivedanta ki Jai. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. Thank you very much.
All glories to you, Śrīla Prabhupāda. All glories to you, Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskrityam Narayanam namaskrityam Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam Tato Jayam Mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyāsadeva, the author, from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. As we do every week, we'll be reciting a few selected verses from the first canto, 2nd chapter. And these verses describe the benefit and the meaning of hearing this great, powerful, transcendental literature, the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Kindly display the verses. Here we go. Text 17. Srinvatam svakataha Krishnaha punyasravana kirtanaha hridyantastoya badrani vidunoti suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, does cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge for hearing his, Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Text 18. Nashtaprayeshu vabhadrishu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil. And thus, loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being an irrevocable fact. Text 19. Tadarajastamo bhavaham kamalo bahadayaschaye chetaete ranaviddam stitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in the mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Evam prasanna manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate. Thus, when one is positively fixed up in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the enlivened-minded man, affected by contact of devotional service of the Lord, can positively know scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. From Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1-20. Again, we will proceed with the reading. Oh, another nectar verse. Let's go back and see. Evam prasanna manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate. Thus, when one is positively fixed up in a mode of unalloyed goodness, the enlivened-minded man affected by contact of devotional service of the Lord can positively know scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Again, welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. As we do every Sunday, it should be noted that we are reading from the original 1962 New Delhi Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam edition, and all synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. We are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 5, text number 20. Idam hi vishvam bhagavan hi vetaro yato jagatstan niroda sambhavaha taddi swayam vedabhavam statapite pradesha matram bhavata pradarshitam. Idam, this, he, all, Vishwam, cosmos, Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord, Iva, almost the same, Itara, different from, Yato, from whom, Jagat, the worlds, Stan, exist, Nirodha, annihilation, Sambhavaha, creation, Taddi, all about, Swayam, personally, Veda, know, Bhavan, your good self, Tatapi, still, Te, unto you, Pradesha matram, just a synopsis only. Bhavataha, unto you. Pradarshitam, explained. Translation by Śrīla Prabhupāda. The Supreme Lord, personality of Godhead, is himself this cosmos, and still is aloof from it, because from him only this cosmic manifestation has emanated. Unto him it rests, and unto him it enters after annihilation. Your good self knows all about this, and still I have explained just a synopsis only. Purport by His Divine Grace, Śrīla Prabhupāda. For a pure devotee, the conception of Mukunda, Lord Sri Krishna, is both personal and impersonal. The impersonal cosmic situation is also Mukunda, because it is emanation of the energy of Mukunda. The example is like the tree and the leaves and branches. The tree is the complete unit, whereas the leaves and the branches of the tree are emanated parts and parcels of the tree. The leaves and branches of the tree are also tree, but the tree itself is neither the leaf nor the branch. The Vedic version that the whole cosmic creation is nothing but Brahman means that everything being emanations from the Supreme Brahman, nothing is apart from him. Similarly, in the whole body, the part and parcel hands and legs are called the body, but the body as the whole unit is neither the hand nor the leg. The Lord is the transcendental form of eternity, cognition, and beauty, and as such, the creation of the energy of the Lord appears to be partially eternal, full of knowledge, and beautiful also. The captivated, conditioned souls under the influence of the external energy Maya are therefore fully engaged in the network of the material nature as all in all, without any information of the Lord, who is the primeval cause. But they have no information also that the parts and parcels of the body, being detached from the whole body, are no longer the same hand or leg as they were when attached with the body. Similarly, a godless civilization detached from the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is just like detached hand and legs of the body. Such part and parcels of the body may appear like the hands and legs, but they have no efficiency. The devotee of the Lord, Śrīla Vyāsadeva, knows it very well, and is further advised by Śrīla Nārada to expend the idea in right earnest, so that the entrapped conditioned souls may take lessons from him and be in order to understand the Supreme Lord as the primeval cause. According to Vedic version, the Lord is naturally fully powerful, and as such, his supreme energies are always perfect and identical with him. Both the spiritual and the material skies and their paraphernalias are emanations of the internal and external energies of the Lord. External energy is comparatively inferior, whereas the internal potency is superior. The superior energy is living force, and therefore she is completely identical. But the external energy being inert, she is partially identical. But both the energies are neither equal nor greater than the Lord, being the generator of all energies. Such energies are always under his control, exactly like the electrical energy. However powerful may be it is always under the control of the supreme powerful engineer. The human beings and all other living beings are products of his internal energies. As such, the living being is also identical with the Lord, but they are never equal nor superior to the personality of Godhead. The Lord and living beings are all individual persons, and with the help of the material energies, the living beings are also creating something, but none of them is either equal or superior than the creations of the Lord. The human being create a small playful Sputnik and may throw it in the outer space for floating, but that does not mean that he can create a full planet like the Earth or Moon and float them in the air as the Lord is able to do. Men with poor fund of knowledge only claim to be equal with the Lord. They are never to be equal with the Lord. This is never to be. The human being, after attaining complete perfection, may achieve a large percentage of the qualities of the Lord, say up to 78%. But it is never possible to surpass the Lord or to become equal with him. In diseased condition only, the foolish being claims to be one with the Lord and thus become misled by the illusory energy. The misguided living beings, therefore, must accept the supremacy of the Lord and agree to render loving service to him for which they have been created. Without this, there cannot be any peace and tranquility in the world. Srila Vyāsadeva is advised by Srila Nārada to expand this idea in the Bhagavatam. In the Bhagavad Gita also, the same idea is explained, and to surrender fully unto the lotus feet of the Lord. And that is the only business of the perfect human being. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shwanyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Bhagavad Vandana Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadati Visheshataham Adadana Strinam Danteridam Yache Punah Punaham Śrīmad Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Sadkaromi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We are reading a very important verse from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam explaining the nature and the origin of the universe. Now, this is very essential to understand. We know from the information received from the Śrīmad-Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate, that everything emanates from me, both material and spiritual worlds. So here, Srila Vyāsadeva is advising Nārada Muni to expand upon this theme. We also see in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, Maya tatam idam sarvan, that everything is manifested from me, jagadavyarta murtina, that everything in this world comes from Krishna. Everyone is familiar with that most important text from the Brahma Samhita in chapter 5, where Lord Brahma, the chief engineer of the universe, describes Ishvaraha Parama Krishnaha Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam, that Lord Krishna has a body made of pure transcendental knowledge and bliss and beauty, but he is the cause of all causes. There are many speculators and philosophers who try to analyze various statements of the Vedas and the Upanishads, trying to understand the nature of Brahman, trying to understand how do we comprehend the nature of the living entities and the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Brahman. Well, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is very simply described. It is not difficult to understand. It is not complicated to understand. And the same point is elaborately explained in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. In the first verse of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, in the first canto, it is described, Janmadyasa yataha, that everything is manifested from that Supreme Personality. Now, the Mayavadis, the impersonalists, have different theories, different ideas, speculative ideas of how this whole manifestation has come about, how it is maintained, and how it is dissolved. There was one very nice lecture where Prabhupada quoted from the Taittiriya Upanishad, the Bhrigu Valli, And he explained in this Upanishad, the definition of God is given. Yato va imani bhutani jayante. He is that person from whom everything is emanated, who maintains everyone. And at the end, when the annihilation comes, he's the only surviving personality. This is God. This is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are so many evidences from the Vedic literature, but the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is considered the topmost evidence according to the authority of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam pramanamamalam, that the text of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, as we can see in the picture behind Krishna Katha Prabhu, he is displaying the beautiful picture of the first canto of the Bhagavatam. The Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam explains everything in detail. Everything is explained. How this world is created, how the living entities become manifested, how the different planets come about, how the universal population starts and is expanded, how different individual human beings receive their bodies according to their previous activities or their purva karma, previous karma. All details are given because this is the topmost authorized transcendental literature. There are so many different Vedic literatures, but this particular book, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, is considered the topmost. And here in this verse, we see so many different explanations from Śrīla Prabhupāda, explaining the difference between the conditioned souls and the liberated souls. We see in the first chapter, the first paragraph of this wonderful explanation, Prabhupada explains, and as such, the creation of the energy of the Lord appears to be partially eternal, full of knowledge and beautiful also. The captivated conditioned souls, under the influence of the external energy, Maya, are therefore fully engaged in the network of the material nature as all in all, without any information of the Lord, who is the primeval cause. But they have no information also that the parts and parcels of the body, being detached from the whole body, are no longer the same hand or leg as they were when attached with the body. Similarly, a godless civilization detached from the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is just like detached hand and legs of the body. Such part and parcels of the body may appear like the hands and legs, but they have no efficiency. So this is very important, because the natural function of the living being is to be engaged in the loving service of Krishna. This is nicely described by Krishna Das Kaviraj in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in which he described Nitya Krishna Das, that the natural function of the living being is to be an eternal servant of Krishna. In another Bengali verse, he described Ekal Ishwar Krishna Ar Sababritya, that the only master is Krishna, and all other living entities are simply eternal servants. And forgetfulness of this basic fundamental principles is the source of all problems in the material world, both collectively and individually. Just like the hands and legs of the body are meant to serve the body. No one tries to give food to the finger or the hand. That is not the natural function. One has to take the food from the hand and feed it to the mouth, that will feed it to the stomach. Similarly, the basic fundamental function of the living being is to engage his body in the service of the Supreme Lord. The example is also given in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in the 5th canto, that in order to have a tree to flourish, one has to water the root of the tree. Yatha taror mula vichenanena. One has to feed the root. One has to water the root. And by this watering process, all the leaves, all the branches, all the twigs, all the flowers, everything will flourish very nicely. It is not that one has to individually water every twig, every leaf, every flower. No, it doesn't work that way. Similarly, human beings especially should engage their lives, their intelligence, their speech, their actions, all for the service of Krishna, service of God. And in this way, their lives will flourish, their families will flourish, their countries, their nations, everything will flourish. And when they forget this, it is just like a person who is falsely trying to feed the fingers or the hand, thinking that such feeding of the fingers and the hand will flourish, will maintain the whole body. It will not. That is not the natural process. That is why it is recommended in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Tasmad bharata sarvatma bhagavan ishvaro harihi shrotavyas kirtitavyascha smartavyascha ichchata bhayam. That every human being should engage his mind, his body, his senses in the glorification of Krishna and remember Krishna. That is the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as given by its most prominent personality, Śrīla Prabhupāda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. And reading these purports, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, give us a detailed explanation of the purpose of human life, which is really what everyone is trying to understand, truth. And the verses of the Vedic literature, they're called shrutas, or codes of religion, just like you have FOB, freight on board. You have different codes in business that explain how business is operated. So in the same way, there are codes of knowledge which are given in the Vedas, and there are millions of verses, Krishna Katha, millions of verses. It's interesting to note that until Prabhupada's appearance in the Western world, and subsequently the spreading of his message worldwide, very few people knew anything about this. Sure, there were scriptures. In fact, many of us were raised as Christians. Myself, a Roman Catholic, Krishna Katha, I think you were as well. So this situation was there back in the 60s, that people had no knowledge of Shruta, of the Vedic teachings, the essence of life. And when Prabhupada appeared in the Western world with us, he brought his wonderful purports, which are deep self-realized insight into the purpose of human life, not only for us, but for humanity moving forward into the future. It's codes. These codes, if you're not experienced in these codes, this shruta, then you won't be able to understand it. Just like in business, if you don't know what FOB means and how it works, you won't be able to understand how to do business. So in the same way, you need to have education in these matters. And Prabhupada, being the transparent via media of Krishna, is explaining the meaning of these codes so perfectly. Recently, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, one person was reaching out on the social media, and he was saying this, that Prabhupada, this is a so-called student of one of these initiating gurus in the ISKCON movement. And he was saying, the guru is Bhaktivedanta. That's the name of the person. I never met him, but he's known a little bit in this world. Anyway, one of his disciples, he was saying that Prabhupada's books are the most important source of information for understanding Krishna consciousness. Not his letters, not his lectures, but just his books. Well, this is not true. In fact, it's a fallacy. Just think about all the letters, Vijaya Pandit, that Prabhupada wrote during his manifested presence. And what were these letters for? His disciples, to explain to them practically how to implement the Krishna consciousness movement in the modern world. They were lessons. Can you minimize these letters? Absolutely not. And when you read them, they're very informative. They teach us. He presented the knowledge of Krishna consciousness for mankind moving forward in his books, his lectures, and his letters. Yet they're minimized. Even though Prabhupada, we understand, is a perfect person, the transparent via media of Krishna. Someone is saying, oh, well, his letters aren't that important. These are not direct sources. Everything that the spiritual master says is Shastra. The Acharya, everything he speaks is Shastra. That's what it means to be Acharya, the representative of Krishna. This confusion is there in the minds of many people who are being misled by people who are not bona fide spiritual masters. Not bona fide, elected. Where's the question of elected? Krishna consciousness is based on realization, not on election. And Prabhupada demonstrated throughout his life how he was constantly focused 100% on the Sankirtan mission given to him from his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. And I was discussing this at the beginning of our program today, how Prabhupada, even in the last few months of his manifested presence, was focused despite all the difficulty that he was experiencing. And if you look at the pictures of Śrīla Prabhupāda, you know, Krishna Katha, you may have seen him, he wanted to go to England. Now, it's hard personally for myself to look at any of these pictures. It's not something I can really do for various reasons. I won't discuss them now, but I don't look at them. But if you see them, they do appear online, you'll see how emaciated Prabhupada's physical form was. So tragic for us, his disciples, to see that. In fact, we thought he would get better. We were constantly being told, oh, Prabhupada, he's not feeling well. Eventually he'll get better. and things will work out. I was sure it would work out, but unfortunately, it happened the way it did for all of us in a certain way. But Prabhupada was never distracted from the mission, even in that difficult situation that he was in, where it is said by some of the doctors that were treating him that he was in excruciating pain, but he was totally aloof from the body, aloof from the circumstances that he was in, transcendental. This is the position of the pure devotee. So some people will minimize the pure devotee of Krishna. They'll try to do that for various personal reasons, either out of envy, either out of personal ambition, whatever the reason might be. This is a great offense, philosophically, a great offense against the pure devotee of Krishna. And those people that perpetrate this offense will be punished for that offense due to the nature of the laws of karma. There are 10 offenses in the chanting of the holy name. And one of them is to offend the spiritual master, to blaspheme the spiritual master. And that is blasphemy. To minimize the orders of the spiritual master, and in this way misdirect people, misinform people on the principles of Krishna consciousness that are in our disciplic succession. Very serious, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, as you know. And it is also very important for us to know that our godbrother here has been one of the most stalwart devotees to speak out against this sinful activity of others in a hope to give people insight onto the proper understanding of this philosophy of Guru Tattva. Do not minimize the spiritual master, pure devotee of Krishna. If you do, that will be your damnation. It's not a minor thing. It's very serious. Now, I was speaking to Krishna Katha yesterday, and he was saying that he was appreciating our focus on this subject. He appreciates it because it is the key to understanding this philosophy, is to understand the connection between the disciple, the bona fide spiritual master, and Krishna. There's a logical connection there. And anyone who minimizes it for whatever reason, this is the greatest offense in this science of devotional service, of self-realization. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could further elaborate, please.
Yes, on this same topic, in a lecture on Bhagavad Gita in London, England, on August 4th, 1973, August 4th, 1973, Śrīla Prabhupāda explains, so ata Sri Krishna namadi nabhaved grayam indriyahi, from Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 17, text 136. So this behavior of Krishna, how ordinary man can understand? Because they have got their ordinary senses, therefore they mistake. Why Krishna? Even Krishna's devotees, Krishna's devotee Vaishnava. This is also stated, Vaishnavira Kriya Mudra Vigneya Nabhujaya, from Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 23, text 39. Even a Vaishnavacharya, what he is doing, even the most expert, intelligent man cannot understand why he is doing this. Therefore, we should not try to imitate the higher authorities, but we have to follow the order, injunction given by the higher authorities. It is not possible. Krishna is exciting Arjuna to fight, That does not mean we can also do that, excite. No, that will be immoral. For Krishna, it is not immoral. Whatever he is doing, God is good. He is all good. We should accept it. Whatever he is doing, that is all good. This is one side. And whatever I'm doing without authority's order, it is all bad. He does not require any order from anyone else. Ishvaraha Parama Krishna, Brahma Samhita 5.1. He is the supreme controller. He does not require anyone's instruction. Whatever he does, it is perfect. This is Krishna understanding. And not that I have to study Krishna in my own way. Krishna is not subjected to your examination or your test. He is above all. He is transcendent. Therefore, those who have not the transcendental vision, they misunderstand Krishna. Here he is directly enticing. Klebhyam masma gamah parta ne tattvayupapadyate kshudram hridaya dorbalyam tattvotishta parantapa, Bhagavad Gita 2:3. So in this way, Prabhupada is explaining the exalted position of Krishna and the pure devotee of Krishna. Because otherwise, one can be misled thinking from one's own conditioning, from one's own educational background, from one's own conditioned environment, thinking, oh, Prabhupada is saying something, but that does not conform to the ideas of such and such crowd, of such and such educated person, of such and such politician. We don't go by that standard. We go by the Bhagavatam pure devotee standard. Even though it may be difficult to understand sometimes, we have to accept it on the basis that a pure devotee who is in direct contact with Krishna knows everything. Hare Krishna.
Yes, and it's important to note, Prabhus, that Prabhupada was the member of the Gaudiya Math. Now, the Gaudiya Math was a very large organization established by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada in India. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada was a potent preacher of Krishna consciousness. He reestablished the Sankirtan movement there. So after his departure from this material world, the Gaudiya Math also fell into confusion due to the ambitions of Prabhupada's godbrothers. And in this way, that mission was destroyed due to whimsical behavior of his godbrothers. And as a result, Prabhupada was very insistent that we learn from these mistakes through his understanding of how things can fail. And it is due to this misunderstanding of Guru Tattva that the ISKCON movement has now deteriorated into a group of individual cults. It was interesting to note, Yaśodā-nandana, when you were speaking to me the other day, how in Atlanta there are two centers. One is called ISKCON Atlanta, which has been there since the 70s. And then somehow or other, another group has appeared called Krishna Life. Two groups, two different corporations, and both of them selling different types of books. Not Prabhupada's original books, but other books written by the leader of their Krishna Life group, or translations of these books by other godbrothers of ours, and distributing those. So this type of deviant behavior has entered into that society, unfortunately. And this kind of contamination was not only present in the Gaudiya Math during Prabhupada's manifested presence. And by the way, Prabhupada was minimized in the Gaudiya Math for his work, despite the success he was showing. Oh, yes. And Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu has explained to us how his godbrothers, Prabhupada's godbrothers, came to him in, I believe it was 1972, and were complaining. How is it that people are calling you, or your disciples are calling you Prabhupada? What right do you have that? And then Prabhupada told his secretary, go get my letterhead. And he got the letterhead and showed them, my name does not say Prabhupada on the letterhead. It is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. But his position was given to him by his disciples, all of us, because we could understand that he is the bona fide representative of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. It is him, no one else. And somehow or other, in 2024, he's been minimized to a position, as we talked about, at the back of the class, not at the front. I just saw a recent picture of someone selling books. One of the students that joined in Montreal when I was there as the vice president, Shivaram, and he had a table, he's sitting there and he's selling his books. Oh, look at my books. On, of all things, the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. Very interesting, eh? The arrogance of such a person to think that now they can jump to Jugala Priti. And Prabhupada said this is a symptom of possible fall down for a person and his followers. So this minimization of Śrīla Prabhupada closes the door to the transcendental world that he opened for all of us during his manifested presence, and is continuing on for the next thousands and thousands of years through his books, which should also remain unchanged. Very important points, Prabhus, that we're expressing, and it is important for all of us to also explain this to others that are interested in Krishna consciousness. Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas. Maybe you could share some insights for us on today's very interesting purport and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam discussion.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Yeah, I really like today's class. It's very philosophical from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. How Krishna is the Supreme Lord, all these powers to create the universes, and how a devotional service is such that we perform pure devotional service as best we can. All the living entities are pleased, all the demigods. Like you water the root of a tree, you water the root, the whole tree becomes flourished. So that was really pleasant to hear. And it's just like I was, but still I was speaking to a devotee recently, and they asked me, everything is so perfect, but how come there's so many different groups? And I was explaining to them, or at least I tried to explain, how even Lord Krishna's time, you had the Vedic Brahmins who didn't want to give Krishna food. Mm-hmm. You had all these kings killing each other all around the world. And you even had great devotees learning all the Vedic literatures, like Rama Harshan, who didn't want to act properly in Balaram's presence. So, and after Lord Chaitanya's time, you had all these different groups after about 50 years, and they were chanting the holy names, but creating different philosophies that were different. So it's kind of like how Kali Yuga goes. Mm-hmm. And now, even after Prabhupada gave all the books, lectures, and tapes, with all recording, we have printing presses and so on. It's just kind of the way things go. And I just wrote down a few notes here how even after Lord Chaitanya's time, Krishna Bhakti had disappeared from the face of the earth. There's some statement kind of like that, a paraphrase. And so I'm just thinking how it's quite a struggle, even if some of our own Prabhupada followers may be overly critical in some cases, and we have to be tolerant of them and try to help them to do more sadhana and not be so critical. It's just a very difficult time, and somehow or another, Krishna has given us the chance to cooperate together and work together, and that's pretty much all we can do. Engage in this hearing and chanting really helps us, and by association, we begin to kind of understand how we're supposed to act, and in some cases, be tolerant with other devotees to encourage them. It's just a real difficult time right now, and that's kind of how Krishna is giving us a chance to be thankful for this devotee association. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
I'm going to have Krishna Gata in a second speak. I just wanted to make a comment. You know, Prabhu, Dharma Bhavana Prabhu. We've been making an effort to try to explain to our God brothers throughout the world that we do know the truth of the matter. And what they do is write us off. That's what they do. Even back in the 70s, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, he was marked as the most dangerous person in ISKCON. The most dangerous. Why? Because he was trying to explain the philosophy according to the philosophical truths of parampara. And instead of being embraced as a dissenter, he was condemned. Look at the situation with Pradumna, who was really a very valuable asset for our mission. And what has happened to him? He was banished. And someone else jumped in the role of trying to rewrite the Bhagavatam or continue writing the Bhagavatam, even though Prabhupada gave direction that he should do it. And Yaśoda can explain more about that pastime. A lot of situations, my friend, that I've dealt with personally. And instead of us discussing it in an intelligent way, these God brothers shut me out. They turn the phone off. They shut down the computer. We cannot talk to you. And they run away like cowards into the forest. That's what they are. And that's our experience, that most people, just like them, don't get it. And if you spend time with them, they'll get mad at you. And in the case of some of our members, you will even be beaten. Yes. This is not a simple situation. Simply forgive and forget. Okay, we're not angry. We're not. In fact, the more I don't think of some of these people, the better I feel. Because factually, they don't help us. They hurt us. And they hurt the mission of Lord Chaitanya. And that does invoke certain emotions with us, because these are great offenses. Yes, they are. And we cannot minimize the fact that most people that are in this sentimental, compromised position are also offensive. Neela Shama, please. You've got your hand
Hare
up.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Jai Śrīla
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna. Glories to God.
It's interesting. It is interesting to hear from Dharma Bhavana Prabhu and yourself. Is that how many people understood even Krishna when he was present on this planet?
Uh-huh.
How many people understood Prabhupada and his position, including the people who were in very close proximity to him?
Uh-huh.
How many of them understand his true position? And why is that? Why is it that some people can understand and some people cannot understand? You know, it is ironic because we were just discussing Bhagavad Gita chapter 11:4, and what Krishna says in 11:4, I mean, what Arjuna says in 11:4 and what Krishna says in 4:11. You know, it is very interesting. And I would just like to share that a little bit in light of what we have been discussing. In 4:11, what does Krishna say? Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajami aham mama vartamanu vartante manushya parthat sarvashah. All of them, they surrender unto me, I reward accordingly. Everyone follows my path. So Krishna reveals according to what who surrenders to him. But a true surrendered person, what does he do? Like Arjuna in chapter 11, text 4. Manasye yat tat chakyam maya drishtam iti prabho yogeshwara tato metvam darashyatmanam avyayam. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me the universal self. If you think I'm able to behold, it is putting on Krishna. So even the mere fact that we are present in this particular group is because of Krishna's mercy, Krishna's special mercy to show us the real truth. There are so many people who are led away in these wrong, false propaganda, as Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu says, you know. But why are they led into it? Because they have surrendered accordingly. Their prarabdha is accordingly. The mercy of Krishna is yet not bestowed upon them. So those of us who have this mercy and we want to share this mercy, what is going to happen to us? Just like what happened yesterday in this country. You know, there was an assassination attempt. What is the precipitation of that? Number one, you are going to be ostracized whenever you're going to speak the truth. Just like how you said, your computers were shut down, your telephones were disconnected. You see? Why were they disconnected? Because you are trying to uphold the truth. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu was declared as the most dangerous person. Yes, he is the most dangerous person. Why? Because he is helping you to declare war on Maya. You see? So if that doesn't work, then legal representation. Legally, they are going to try to train you. Take away all your money, take away your position, shatter your credibility. And even if that does not work, violence is going to be the ultimate. This is the proper delineation which happens with anybody who's intoxicated with Maya. In intoxication, people don't know what they're doing. Imagine if I were to shoot myself up with methamphetamine or any of those drugs, and then I go into a little rant. I don't know what I'm doing because I'm completely intoxicated. While you, Prabhuji, are more sane. You have not intoxicated yourself. So it is up to us to be patient, but at the same time, warning them about what the repercussions are. And somebody who is going into that direction to warn them, look, where this is going to lead you. Do you want to be more intoxicated with Maya or do you want to be more sober? Remember, only a sober person can understand. As Krishna says, you see, Dehi nasmin tata dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tata dehantara prapti dhira tatra namuyati. A sober person will not get bewildered. So if you don't want to be intoxicated with Maya, do not associate with people who are intoxicated with Maya. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. We're going to move forward quickly here. We'll have Krishna Katha speak, and then we'll have Yaśodā-nandana give us a final point of view this morning at Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam readings and discussions. Krishna Katha, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Santiago.
So nice discussion. And first of all, obviously, it goes without saying, what a rich purport from today's verse. Wow. And then Yaśodā-nandana's excellent explanation and how it relates to time, place, and circumstance. There is no doubt anyone that is sincere to the teachings of Śrīla Prabhupada and practices his disciplinary process will immediately recognize that the Hare Krishna Society Prabhupada Disciples Association is the strongest connection to Śrīla Prabhupada that exists right now, real time. There's no doubt. And yes, that's exactly why Yaśodā was labeled the most dangerous man in ISKCON, because the truth hurts them. It hurts their agenda, their materialistic Maya agenda that just sits on the bodily concept of life, right? They want their cushy position. They don't want it disrupted. They don't want the movement to go on as Prabhupada wanted it to. They want the movement to go on as they want it to, which is cushy position. They just want their cushy position. Their jet set, their credit card, their bank account. They have become passionate Vaishyas in a Brahminical Vaishnav society. That's who's running our movement right now, is rascals and fools. Prabhupada makes this statement many times in his purports, these rascals and these fools. So this is a period of time that will go on for some time, but Prabhupada's movement, as he gave it to us, will prevail. Lord Chaitanya has the control. Lord Chaitanya has the control of his pure devotees movement. And so in the meantime, like Nilesh was saying, we have to be patient. We have to continue this message, because I believe, Prabhus, and my pranams to everyone that's listening and that will listen to this in the future, that the real target audience here are all the jivas that came to ISKCON and bought into the deception version, because there was still so much purity that even though they saw that purity, they got hooked by the trick, by the cheating, deception side. And now they're floating around, wandering, and they're in disillusion. They don't really know what they're missing. What they're missing is what y'all are giving us in these classes. A Prabhupada lecture with one of his sincere devotees giving enlightenment based on his purport. That's the real system of transferring the original message to these souls that are floating around. And so our target audience are all these jivas that have been initiated by these cheaters, and they have a name, and they're chanting the rounds, and they're following the principles. We need to speak to them. Those are the people we give the flyer to. Those are the devotees that need to switch. And I know 2 or 3 of them personally, and I've become very acquainted with how grateful they are that you are giving these classes, because now they see why they were attracted, and now they have realized who they're attracted to, and that is Śrīla Prabhupada. That's who they are attracted to, not this cheater who's posing and posturing with all this fakery, that a live body is the connection. No, it's the aura reception. That's the connection. And that we can see. We all know that we can see this because we have this blessed realization. And those that don't have this blessed realization, they need to get this flyer and start listening to these classes. That's how you save Śrīla Prabhupada's movement, is you can not convert, but you show them the obvious pure option. You have the impure option and you have the obvious option that is pure at heart. And that's what's happening right now. Like I said, I know 2 or 3 devotees that have been initiated by these fake gurus, and they've come to these classes and they realize, oh my gosh, this is the real thing. So that's my realization from today's class, and what Nilesh said and Dharma Bhavana. And of course, you, Vishwakarma, are always making this point about Guru Tattva and the position of Śrīla Prabhupada, understanding what real Guru Tattva is and the position of our exalted spiritual master in his movement. And he has made the statement in Ocala, Hawaii, I will be the spiritual master for the Hare Krishna movement for all time. It's a famous quote. So anyone that has any doubts, just listen to this class today. and it will dispel all doubt about who Śrīla Prabhupada is, our Diksha Guru, eternally. Thank you for letting me speak, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Glories to Prabhupada. And I wanted to remind everyone that our shows, these broadcasts, we have almost 300 and counting, which is somewhat of an achievement, can be found on YouTube, Hare Krishna Society YouTube page, and you can share that page. People can subscribe and go to these programs and get some association with like-minded God brothers and God sisters. Because Guru, Shastra, Sadhu, these are three principles of Krishna consciousness that we all need in our efforts to get out of this entanglement of material existence. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could sort of give us a summary of your thoughts before we move forward with the kirtan.
Well, my thoughts are very simple.
Yes.
He lives forever by his divine instructions, and the follower lives with him. This is how Prabhupada describes his approach to studying the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam before he begins to explain any of the contents of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam itself. We see in the first canto of Bhagavatam, the dedication. Prabhupada dedicates this book to his spiritual master, and he gives this most important message, which many times is overlooked and neglected by many devotees. They will read this and then they will say, but there is no but. Once you understand this point, you are well situated, you are protected, you are eternally, transcendently connected to the disciplic succession. But many people overlook this. They neglect this point. So this is a very important point to remember. And if you emphasize this point, you may also be labeled a most dangerous person in ISKCON, because you're not emphasizing various charlatans, posers, pretenders. Our movement is a serious movement. Prabhupada's movement is a most serious movement meant to liberate people from their entanglement and suffering. But it has to be presented just like an expert physician will give a prescription for medication. And depending on the condition of the patient, depending upon his physical condition or medical condition, he will prescribe a certain dosage, should be taken at a certain time in a certain way. The patient does not have this level of experience and training. The patient has to listen to the physician. In this case, we have to listen to Śrīla Prabhupada, the transcendental physician. Again, thanks everybody for participating. I see that our good friend Vijay Pandit in Italy is very busy discussing with Chaturbuja Prabhu, and all the kind of devotees there is very welcome. And everybody who attends these programs, thank you so much for your participation. A brief announcement: we are trying to gather various offerings to submit to His Divine Grace Śrīla Prabhupada. Time is going fast. We have about 5 weeks before Vyasa Puja. Please send your offerings, whether it's short or long, doesn't matter. Whether it is one sentence or many pages, doesn't matter. Just send your offering either to Vishwakarma or to Venkat Prabhu or myself. We will get it formatted and everything. So we greatly appreciate your participation and your coming to this program. Hare Krishna. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada.
Yes, thank you very much. And we want to remind you, everyone, we'll be back Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. in the evening, Eastern Standard Time, for Chaitanya Charitamrita study group, reading and discussion. And we'll march on together in this effort to build out our group and propagate the truth of the matter to as many people as possible. All glories to the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let's move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna and Prabhupada playing along with his bongo back in New York City in the 60s. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Again, thanks everybody for participating, for your comments and everything. You're all welcome. Please join us on next Wednesday at 5:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 8:00 p.m. Eastern Time, on Hamilton, Ontario time, and Eastern USA time. We will be discussing Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in various issues. Hare Krishna, all glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. Hare Krishna.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang Shri Gurum Vaishnava Vangsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanitang Tang Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya